G'day folks, this is Andy, and this is Andy's World Journeys, and today the journey is a journey to a country that is emerging, that is opening up to the world at the moment, and offers an opportunity for the visitor to go somewhere where it's been very difficult up until recently for visitors to go. That country is Saudi Arabia. Folks, in today's vlog, I want to go through a few need-to-know kind of things if it's your intention or if you're thinking about going to Saudi Arabia. I want to talk about visas, I want to talk about getting in and out of the country, I want to talk a little bit about money and a few other things, and I also want to share a few highlights of the two cities that I visited while I was there, the capital city of Riyadh and the port city of Jeddah. So, without further ado, let's do it Saudi Arabia style. Only a few years ago, entering Saudi Arabia for non-Muslims was pretty tricky. Today, getting a visa is actually pretty easy, if expensive. For me, I went to the website visitsaudi.com and I got my visa through there. There's no need to go to some sort of intermediary website who will just charge you a commission. The visa process wasn't too hard. It did require the applicant, in this case me, to write down a hotel that they were going to stay at and a few other details that are pretty standard, but there was no need to get an invitation or any other sort of special documentation to enter Saudi Arabia. The cost is 535 Saudi Arabian riyals, which works out to be around 220 Australian dollars or 143 US. This includes health insurance, which is compulsory, regardless of whether you have your own travel insurance or not. This is an e-visa which is available to people of around 49 countries at the moment. There is also a visa on arrival, which is a little bit cheaper, but only available, I think, to people of certain countries, the USA, the United Kingdom and Schengen countries in Europe. Now that you have your visa, it's time to get to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The national airline is called Saudia, and it's an emerging airline of 144 aircraft. It also has its own budget arm called Fly Nas. There are major international airports in a number of cities, including Jeddah, Dammam, and the capital of Riyadh. I flew out via Jeddah's King Abdul Aziz Airport, which is a busy modern airport. There are other airlines too, slowly building, such as Riyadh Airlines, and there are hopes to build Saudia into an airline to rival the others in the Middle East, such as Emirates, Etihad and Qatar Airways, as Saudi opens up and becomes more visited. But you don't have to fly to get to Saudi Arabia from another country. Foreigners can now enter Saudi Arabia by land from a handful of surrounding countries, such as the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. I took a long-distance bus from Dubai all the way to Riyadh overnight. Saptco is the main bus company in Saudi Arabia, and the bus journey left in the mid-afternoon and arrived early the next morning in the central capital of Riyadh. The border crossing was initially easy with a straightforward and quick immigration process, but then we were stuck at the border for 1 or 2 hours as the bus was searched and checked. They piled us all into this room and there were several buses being checked, and we had to wait for all of them to be checked before we could all go. Cities are a long way apart in Saudi Arabia, so the bus journeys are also long. There is an emerging rail network though, but at the present there isn't a train line between Jeddah and Riyadh. There are fast rail connections though from Riyadh to Mecca and Medina, two of Islam's most holy cities that you see a lot of Muslim pilgrims visiting Saudi Arabia for each year. Unfortunately, non-Muslims are not allowed to visit Medina or Mecca. Saptco buses are basic, but not too bad. The Dubai bus to Riyadh wasn't very full, so there was plenty of space. There are other bus companies, but Saptco is by far the biggest. Tickets can be bought in advance online and at the bus stations. I found in general the people of Saudi Arabia to be friendly and warm. Whilst there, I met quite a few people, My best opportunities were to talk to people often on Uber rides when I heard about the positive attitudes to the country's increased freedoms from the drivers of the Ubers. I was surprised, but in Jeddah I even got the chance to chat with women, which I wasn't really expecting. It was mostly curiosity and simple questions like, where are you from? But in general, people in Saudi Arabia were curious about visitors to their country. As far as money is concerned, Saudi Arabia uses the Saudi Arabian Rial. $1 equals around 3.75 Rial. It's not a cheap country to travel, but it's not super expensive either. You can get a mid-range hotel, for example, for well under $100 a night in both Riyadh and Jeddah. A bus ticket, for example, from Riyadh to Jeddah was 230 Rial, which works out to be around about $61. Before I wrap up this post, a quick look at what's to see and do in the towns of Jeddah and Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, the two cities that I visited. I will be presenting my top 3 sites in both cities to you. In Riyadh, well, we have the Kingdom Tower. It's a 302-metre tower with a sky bridge and brilliant views of the Saudi capital. The Mazmak Fortress is also something worth seeing, a 19th century fortress, and it's full of history with a little museum inside, impressive structure. Also, the National Museum is housed in Riyadh, and it is a very, very good national museum. It's full of history of Saudi Arabia and the region, but also you get a real insight into the history of Islam as well. As for Jeddah, I thoroughly recommend visiting Al Balad, the historic old city of Jeddah, which you could explore for hours and easily get lost in. You might find yourself at a marketplace checking out perfumes and other scents. Who knows? You can also go into a couple of historic houses. The Al Rama Mosque is also known as the Floating Mosque, and it's situated on the Jeddah Corniche. It's a more modern mosque, built I think in the 1980s, but it is very, very beautiful, and you can't go wrong with the location, and it sits out there on the water on stilts. Also, you have King Fahed's Fountain. This one can shoot up to 260 metres into the air, making it apparently the tallest fountain in the world. Be careful though, I was told off for trying to film it. While you're in Jeddah actually, you should definitely consider taking a snorkel in the Red Sea. There's a fair bit of fish under there and some coral and reefs, and I used Al Haddad Scuba, which ran a pretty good operation there, and yeah, I think it's definitely one of the best things you can do whilst in Jeddah. One thing I didn't visit was the Hegra ruins in the north, but the photos I've seen show them rivaling Jordan's Petra, and I think definitely that would be one thing high on my list if I was to return to Saudi Arabia. Well, folks, thanks again for joining me on yet another vlog. A little bit of a different vlog, if you like, but a vlog nonetheless. If you're interested in seeing a little bit more about Saudi Arabia, I do have a couple of other vlogs that I shot while I was there. And next week I'll be exploring in great detail Al Balad, the historic old city of Jeddah. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel. You can get notifications when new videos drop. I really appreciate it, and it helps the channel to grow. Thanks one more time. Take care wherever you are in the world, and may the journey never end.